Hello, my name is Helen. I'm often known as Troy, and I have the Big Apple Knitting Blog. In addition, I do knitting videos, and this is one of a series of videos for cast-ons. The first this cast-on is a single yarn cast-on and is known as the Simple. The Simple cast-on is fairly simple to do. Very frequently, it started with a slip knot. You make a slip knot by wrapping around the yarn around your index finger and making a loop and pulling it closed. The reason it's called a slip knot is if you pull it, it slips apart. But you don't have to use a slip knot to start a simple cast-on. To start a simple cast-on, you're going to hold the yarn in your hands. Actually, there are several ways of doing this. I'm going to show you a way that I think is the best, and I'll explain why. So we're going to start by holding the tail of our yarn in our hand, using our ring finger and our pinky finger to hold the yarn. In this case, we can probably use our middle finger as well. We're going to bring the yarn to the outside of our hand, wrap it around the thumb, and bring it back into the hand. And now, as you see, you have this crossed loop here. This is a crossed loop like ribbons that they have for all the courses. And this is what you want. So you want to have your yarn come around. You're going to secure it then ever so slightly with your middle finger, simply to keep it in place. And now all you do is take a needle, bring it to the base of your thumb, and then slip it into that loop. Now that first loop is going to have nothing securing it, so it's not going to work. So we're going to actually put a slip knot on. Now a slip knot, by its name, has a knot in it. And the thing about the cast-on is we don't need this slip knot once we have a couple of stitches cast on. So we don't need to knit this stitch. So if we're doing something like lace, where we particularly don't want a knot, we simply don't count this stitch. We use it here just as a holder to hold the yarn in place. So once again, the yarn is in our hand. The long end, going back to the ball, is being secured by the ring finger and the pinky. The yarn is getting wrapped around our thumb. We're coming to the base of the thumb to put this needle into the stitch, sliding the stitch off and snugging it up. And we can just repeat that same motion, sliding, snugging, sliding, snugging. It's a very simple cast-on, which is why it's called the Simple Cast-On. There are some disadvantages to the Simple Cast-On. If you tend to do it quickly, what's going to happen is you're not going to snug the yarns up at the same rate. So what will happen is you'll have some tighter stitches, some looser stitches, and this is going to cause a loose, loopy edge when you go to knit your first row, an edge that can be unattractive. But don't let that stop you from using this. This cast-on has advantages. Sometimes you want a loose, loopy edge if you're picking up stitches later. You can pick them up almost invisibly. Sometimes when you're doing a raglan sweater and you need to cast on a few stitches underneath the arm to create some ease, you'll want to have a loose, loopy cast-on so that when you go to put the sleeve on, you can simply pick up stitches from the loose, loopy edge and have a seamless join. When you're doing lace, and frequently lace uses this cast-on, the loose, loopy edge means you can pick up a new row of edging from that loose, loopy edge. So there are some advantages to the Simple Cast-On, but I don't recommend it as a basic everyday cast-on. It can be used, people use it all the time, but to me it's not the first choice. But sometimes it's the best choice.